It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. Just acknowledge it, knowledge with no scholarships. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. Breaking everything down, tech to politics. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. We don't tell you what you want, we just give you what you need. It's Topic Thunder. It's Topic Thunder. News, brews, and views from these Chi-Town streets. Topic Thunder.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the number one internet saloon that I know of and Ben knows of and you guys know of. And that's all that matters at this very moment, because this is Topic Thunder. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching this on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, wherever else it might be illegally streaming, but we support that because just spread the word, right? This is Topic Thunder. I'm Brooks. That's Ben. To this direction is the world's most dangerous chat zone. We call that the Thunderdome. Welcome to Topic Thunder, ladies and gentlemen. We call it the Internet Saloon. We encourage you to pull up a chair, a stool, whatever is available. Actually, belly up to the bar, because we're about to have several nice conversations. And we were having a little bit of a pre-show chat, and earlier today, some pretty serious weather rolled through my neck of the woods up here in Chicago. And Ben, I guess you got something going on down there that you got to tell us about.
Yeah. So the weather is telling me that, or the people on Facebook that follow the weather here in town are saying that there is a storm imminent to hit, and I can already hear it starting to rain a little bit on the window. 60 to 70 mile an hour winds predicted, hail the size of nickels, and pretty heavy rain. So if the show suddenly drops out of nowhere, it's because the weather has knocked me out. And you would say, Ben, you have solar. Why would the power go out if you have solar? Well, that's a good question. I don't have battery backup, so I'm still tied to the grid. So even though technically when the power goes out, I don't technically lose power, I have to shut off because I'm tied to the grid. And so if there is something that have a line that has to be worked on by someone, there isn't power still being sent through the line, it could potentially kill that person. So not kill the energy company guy that has to work on the power lines. They have to take me off the power as well. But yeah, that's my announcement. And that could lead us. But we do have some before.
Actually, well, I mean, that's interesting because that's an organic lead, because we're going to talk about an influx of lithium battery manufacturing both here and in Canada. So yes, they are expensive, but that is about to change. And if you continue on listening to Topic Thunder, we might have a conversation about that too. But I'm sorry, Ben. I think I interrupted you. You were saying something. Oh yeah. So I guess before the power goes out, we have a little segment here. Nothing original here, folks. We're living cheap. We're living good. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, mango. I bet that's good.
It is actually. It's like that. So you like drinking seltzer water, right? You just got your that kind of thing. And now it's got booze in it. Cool, pretty nice. And
so now that's the third one that you've had, the third Kirkland flavor, right? So I guess at this point you have to rank the flavors, because the first one was lemon lime, right? Or was it
lime? It's just a lime, yes.
Just lime, and then there was grapefruit last week.
Yes.
Right? And then this is mango.
Yes.
So of the three, which are the best?
Mango of the three, but I'll tell you right now, and maybe we'll get to that next week, because maybe I'm not going to go crazy shopping at the liquor store. But there's a black cherry that is. Anybody remember Clearly Canadian? I'm completely Canadian myself. Yes. It used to be a sparkling water beverage way back in the day in a very teardrop glass container with a black screw cap. Yep.
I love black cherry. It's my favorite flavor.
That was my introduction to the sugary goodness of black cherry, and just carry on, because that Kirkland's is fantastic. Kind of, I guess, circling back a little bit, because that storm that kind of rolled through here a little bit south of Chicago, I guess, got it, because I was looking at the map and it was like just reds and deep oranges and yellows, right? they were saying like tornado like winds, and you just said like 60 to 70 mile an hour winds.
Yes, crazy winds. The weather here has been fairly nuts lately. We had a long drought for much of the summer, where there were burn bans and all kinds of things because there was no rain. And then in the last, I would say, 6 days, we have had almost nothing but rain. It has been a ridiculous amount of rain. And like I told you guys last week, the drainage in Lubbock, Texas is terrible. So the whole town floods whenever it rains. So the next, I would say, hour or so is going to be very interesting on the streets of Lubbock.
That's it's just I mean, that's just not doesn't have that's just a coincidence. There's nothing going on in the background. Could there be, Ben? It's not a coincidence, right? That's just isolated incidents. There's nothing to that, right? We're gonna get right to it. We're gonna kick it right off, ladies and gentlemen, with the Ellie. Oh yeah. Check this story out. This was confirmed in not only our friends The Guardian, but the AP and New York Times also covered this story too. Major sea level rise caused by melting of Greenland ice cap is now inevitable.
Oh, good.
A loss will contribute to a minimum rise of 27 centimeters, regardless of what climate action is taken, scientists discover. So just to put that, it's roughly 10 and a half inches. Not the 10 and a half inches you kind of want, I guess. So let's just stop right there, right? And just consider the fact that water everywhere rises 10 and a half inches.
It doesn't sound like a lot, right? It doesn't sound like a lot immediately. You're like 10 and a half inches. That's whatever. That's just the beach. Yeah, I think people are picturing like the beach is just now 10 and a half inches smaller. You know what I mean? Like that's how I think people imagine it. It's like, oh, well, just the shoreline is just 10 and a half inches, but that's a lot if it's all of the coastal lines are all 10 and a half inches inward.
Well, there's a ton of reasons why too, right? Because it's not like a beach is like 10 and a half inches like this. It's 10 and a half inches like at such a slow incline that like that could stretch, depending on the gradient, for miles.
Right. Yeah.
And if you start getting down to below sea level areas, especially on coastlines where it starts to dip right before mountains, because you have valleys and mountains and such, guess where we like to habitate next to the nice coastlines.
It says right here, the billions of people live on coastal regions, making flooding due to the rising sea levels one of the greatest long-term impacts of the climate crisis. Keep in mind, guys, the biggest cities in almost every country are on bodies of water, major bodies of water, as close to as possible for, obviously, what's the logistical reasons.
Oh,
right. They were established because they were easy access because most things were moved by water back in the day. So large towns, large cities were developed on coastal regions. I mean, think of every New York, Miami, all of there's so many that are big coastal cities. I mean, the entire New Orleans would cease to exist.
Cairo
or will cease to exist.
You just continue to all over the world. Japan.
Yeah.
Just think about islands that lose. Hawaii, how much we'd lose of Hawaii, how much California would go under.
Fiji, in that area.
Over the world. And I think we've shown a map before. And I don't think I kind of think we're preaching to the choir, right? Everybody, I think here, especially in the world's most dangerous chat zone, it might be also the world's smartest chat zone. They kind of get it, to kind of understand what we're talking about. But this is like tell your friends that don't believe. Like, share it with the family at the upcoming holidays, dinners, whatever you got to do, or sitting and having a hot dog or grilling out with friends. Like, hey, did you hear that not only the doomsday ice shelf in Antarctica, but this ice shelf in Greenland is basically going to drown us? it's a problem, and we're not doing enough. And they've already said that this is inevitable. 10.5 inches of inevitability, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
It's not a
it's coming
Saturday
whether we
night.
like it or not. Yeah, whether we like it or not, it's coming.
Eh,
Right now, what do you do about it? You got to move all of those people off coastlines. Think about
Stay
how many
alive.
expensive houses, how many billionaires will lose their homes.
Oh man, that's a bummer.
Such a
Actually, think about all the high rises that are now like flooded and not viable. Think about any kind of, I mean, Myrtle
Well,
Beach.
remember
gone.
New York. Remember what was it? Probably what it feels like 20 years ago now, but it feels like when we were younger, when New York had that hurricane and the entire city flooded. It was significantly flooded, and it was a major issue. I want to remember. I don't remember which hurricane it was, but I remember it being a huge issue that a significant portion of New York was very underwater because there is a lot of those high rise buildings that have basement apartments and things of that nature. Yeah, all those snow bunnies in Miami.
And here's the thing about water, right? Is that it doesn't target anything or anybody. It just gets you all. So as much as we want to say, hey, it's going to get all those bad and rotten people,
there it was,
Sandstorm
Superstorm
Sandy. And I think today is, I forgot what year anniversary, but the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, which again, think about what happens. And this is Red Pot can tell us very intimately about how cool a city New Orleans is and that general area gone. And as Aunt Chris, thanks for joining us. As always, lets us know that water always wins too. There's no escaping water. So we have to do something. It's too late to do everything, but we got to do something. And again, it's not just for us to sit here and continue this dare I say, circle jerk of the same idea and the same philosophies and the same mindsets. We got to bring this ammunition to other. We have to combat the ignorance, I think. And I'm not trying to start a Bannon or InfoWars-esque type podcast where we're gonna but we have to have information when we go to these conversations that inevitably come up and somebody throws out something really ignorant, and you look at their 3 or 4 kids, all of whom are going to be suffering from these calamities in 70, 80 years when they're elderly and their children have to really deal with it, and their grandchildren. But you can see, because education sucks in this country, and we don't take science very seriously for a myriad of reasons, that none of these people are thinking about that. None. No. Why? The same reason the baby boomers didn't care that everything they did and were handed got just absolutely just kind of
annihilate. Yeah.
They sat and got fat on their riches, right? So the same thing is happening regarding the climate in this situation, because it's not affecting me. I don't need to recycle. I don't need to worry about this. I'm going to buy that big F
drill, baby, drill.
Drill, baby, drill. Give me all that oil, even though we can put money into renewable resources. Again, I'm just preaching to the choir here, right?
No, but here's what I would suggest, if you haven't visited New Orleans and you want to visit New Orleans, you should probably put that on your list of things to do sooner than later. Because I think it's inevitable that in our lifetimes New Orleans will cease to exist. I think it's very possible that they will have to evacuate and it will be underwater. And in our lifetimes, we'll talk about, there'll be documentaries about the nightlife and what a great place, and Mardi Gras, and what an amazing place New Orleans used to be, and it'll be under fucking water. I think that's going to happen.
I'm 100 yards from a major harbor and beach on Lake Michigan. Just 100 yards, just a football field's length. And that could be underwater to the point that this building and the building in front of us are now inhabitable.
Right.
Period. That's how it could affect where I live right now. Then, it doesn't affect me. Then the rivers around you rise, and tributaries and the smaller streams, everything rises. Again, I feel like we're just kind of preaching to the choir here. So let's move on to something that might be, I don't know, might be poking the bear a little bit. Because Ben, the rent crisis on Main Street just took a turn for the worse. Now, I know, Ben, you've been very much on the side of renters against the idea of a landlord and
Yes.
people controlling where and how people live.
Right.
Largely because there's been a massive corporate takeover, a hedge fund takeover, an equity company takeover of apartment buildings and swaths of available homes across the country.
Yes, sir.
What people weren't considering, because everybody's really easy to come, oh, get a better job, or you shouldn't afford a house you can't pay for, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff, right? What they didn't maybe consider is the small businesses that have been now being caught in this problem.
Yep. I called this too. If you'll remember, I called this.
Let's go back to this story. I think this was from the 27th, so Saturday, from CNBC. The Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said on Friday there will be, quote, pain to come in the economy as a result of the central bank's battle with inflation. And right now, small businesses are experiencing that pain on both sides of the fight. Inflation has been the number one concern of small businesses for some time, as high prices and raw materials, labor, energy, transportation cut into margins. Higher rents and landlords feeling more aggressive the farther away nations move from the peak of COVID have compounded the hit from inflation being felt on Main Street. While there are signs that inflation easing across the economy, that's because the Fed is intentionally cooling the demand and that small business owners are anticipating a sales decline. What does it all add up to? According to a new national survey of small business owners by Alignable, a big jump in August in the small percentage of small business owners who can't pay full rent in August. Nationally, apartment rental prices, which have soared, are among inflation indicators that may have recently peaked. But Alignable data shows that rent inflation crisis for small businesses is actually getting worse. 40% of small business said they could not pay their rent in full this month, up 6% over the month before, setting a record for 2022. Let's just stop right there. 40% of those small businesses that sustain the economy, prop up smaller populational areas. I think I just made up a word.
Right. We'll go with it.
40% gone because landlords and their greed.
100%. And you know, this was inevitable because there aren't many houses left. Right? There's only so many houses that are available for sale, and these major hedge funds and corporations and land or property management companies bought up all the houses. The inevitable next thing was to start buying commercial property. And when they start buying commercial property, then they're gonna they feel even more emboldened when it's a business owner, because, well, they have more money than even a renter does, or they assume, right? And so, yeah, they're putting the screws to the small business owners now too. It was inevitable to happen, you know.
I think we need to backtrack and re-explain why, right? Because these are tax write-offs for these equity firms and hedge funds. A couple of $1 million to us, even if you make six figures, is a lot of freaking money.
Right.
And if you own a strip mall that's $6.5 million and 40% of your renters now can't afford your rent and what you're paying, you're going to sell. And that hedge fund and the equity firm have no problem paying you up front, paying you in cash, whatever, direct funds for your property, and then write that off until they get people to meet their rent. There's a nice little chart where they kind of break down, because the 40% is a little bit of a misrepresentation, I guess, of where this really affects the economy across the entire swath of the economy. Because 40% only touches real estate and retail. If you look all the way at the top of the chart, agriculture, 50%.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's the worst business in the history of business is agriculture, farming. The entire industry, it's not profitable at all.
At all.
100% not profitable. And so in order to even be operational, you have to take loans from agricultural banks that are specifically there to leech off of these farmers who they know can't operate without being floated money until their crops come in, right? That you have, there's no way a farmer can sustain because they can't build up enough money to last them until the next crop comes in, right? There's just not enough money there. So they have to take loans from these fucking leech loan shark-esque agriculture banks. And it's funny because around here they advertise like they're like the saviors. And really they're predatory, if nothing else.
That's what
And
sharks do, right?
they charge, they charge interest, of course, on these loans that they charge these farmers, and then the farmers pay them back when their crop comes in, and they get paid for their crop. And it's just this cyclical bullshit. Agriculture and farming, and what's most fucked up about that, Brooks, is that it's going to lead to more corporate farming, which is bad for everybody on multiple levels. It's bad for the environment. It's bad for the food. It's bad for our health. It's bad for workers. It's bad on every level, but it's almost inevitable. We're talking about inevitabilities this week. This seems inevitable. We're going to be a local farmer is impossible. It's impossible to be profitable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can look, I'm not going to lie, folks.
Right. My wife, Adrian's right. There's a billion songs about the bank taking the family farm for a reason.
Yeah. Right. Enough said, as the comic book phrase goes. It was tough putting together the show today because there was a lot of stuff that we could talk about, and there's a lot of stuff that are like, do we want to talk about? One of them was the ridiculousness of that PPP loan thing that came up. But yeah, look at that chart. Look at the. It's a scale. It's a scale of people that do good to people that do bad.
Yeah. Ultimately, weirdly enough, yeah. Because farmers, I don't hate farmers. We need them.
They're kind of important.
They're kind of important to the whole society thing. Nonprofits, kind of a big deal, kind of important. People getting services that they can't pay for, that are getting paid for them. That's kind of a big deal. Restaurants. I hate restaurant owners, but I like restaurants. I think it's another like terrible business to be in. It's really hard to be successful at. And everybody that has ever been successful tells people don't get into it. But yeah, it's automotive. That's
who doesn't like a good repairman,
right? And also automotive sales. You need repairs, and you need to be able to replace your.
Here vehicle. We go. Not. You should recuse yourself from that demographic.
Right.
Yeah. But think about it. Education, travel, lodging, gyms. Okay, cool. Transportation, yes. Construction, sure. Real estate, man. Do we need people to sell real estate and charge 7%?
No.
And retail, we feel bad for all.
By the way, Gigi, tip of the hat, the bear reference. I get it.
Oh yeah, oh my god, that show, holy smokes,
so fucking good, right?
Yeah, I don't want to segue it too far, but holy smokes, that show. There is always money in a banana stand, so somebody is a Arrested Development fan.
Yes, welcome to the show. They're joining us from
400.
Yeah, they're joining us from Twitter. If you just found us randomly on Twitter,
Twitch.
welcome to the world's most dangerous chat room.
Yes, and participating immediately. So hey, that's awesome. And sure, it depends, I guess, what kind of farming you're into. Herbs, sure. But yeah,
hey, Hayden's back, by the way. It's been a while since Hayden has contributed. Welcome back yourself, sir.
Yeah, hey everybody, it's a family reunion with the new family members. So hey, welcome to Topic Thunder. This is to this way, the world's most dangerous chat room. So
I got it right.
Yes, on the first try. Right,
it's a gamble, right? I never know.
But now I feel like we have to talk about something like cool or something like really cool and fun. But we got to talk about something. We got to keep kicking up dust on this because I just want to go back to 2017. I just want to. Sometimes I like tooting my own horn. Sometimes I hate having to toot my own horn. And one of these times, I have to toot my own horn because the 2016 election was very interesting for a lot of different reasons, right? There were a lot of interesting things going on, whether it was a surprise, unorthodox investigation opened 2 weeks before the election involving one of the candidates, whether it was an amount of attention being paid by networks to one candidate versus another. All that led up to some really weird things. And of course, the popular vote going one way and then the electoral vote going another way. And for all those people that have been saying, yeah, well, it was Russia tampered with the election, you needed a smoking gun. For all those people who are like, Russia, fuck, it's stupid, it's a hoax. They would, well, Russia's tampering with the election. You needed a smoking gun. And ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to one of our favorite segments where we kind of just go over some of the cool, dirty things, I guess not cool, dirty things that Russia has been up to. Because this is how they did it in 2016, right? This is how they did it. From 2017, ABC News said it reprimanded its top producer for investigative reporting for giving Donald Trump's presidential campaign proprietary exit polling data on election night in 2016. In their new book, again, back to 2017, Let Trump Be Trump, campaign insiders Corey Lewandowski and David Bossie wrote that Chris Vlasto, then executive producer of Good Morning America and now senior executive producer for investigative reporting, called Bossie Trump's deputy campaign manager at 5:01 on election night, with information being shared within a consortium of the Associated Press and major TV networks. Vlasto had the early exit numbers and that the consortium of news networks, the AP, ABC, CBS, CNN, Fox News, NBC News, all of them had collected. Think about that reach. And let's specify what polling data is. Polling data is what they'll have people outside of the polling place asking you who you voted for after you voted for them. That could be the local news, the regional news, the state news, and then the network news. So all of these networks had this polling data, collected this polling data. And then this polling data was given to Trump, who then was down in 8 of the 11 states by 5 to 8 points. The news was devastating. A kill shot. He was going to lose Ohio, Florida, and Pennsylvania. However, as the story goes on, and history will tell you, Donald Trump eventually won Ohio, Florida, and Pennsylvania. Because he had this polling data, certain friends of the Trump campaign were able to target very specific districts in very specific states to flip numbers, to get electoral votes, to push one of the candidates across the line. Two sources familiar with the consortium process told Politico that Vlasto should not have been providing such detailed information to people outside the group, which spends millions of dollars on exit polling and shares the information on election day. Representatives from the AP and TV networks crunched the numbers under strict quarantine until 5 p.m. on election night, at which time they share the data with other members of their own organizations involved in coverage. Wow, that sounds pretty fair. And a very scientific way to go about data like that. Hey, we collected all this. We've already analyzed it. Here's a breakdown. What does yours look like? Is it consistent? Pretty cool, right? News organization. Cool. It is, right? News organizations involved in a consortium typically warn staffers not to provide specific poll numbers to outsiders, especially given that the polls are still open.
Jesus. So they knew that they were behind at 5 o'clock when the polls were still open, and they were magically able to get more votes in the last few minutes to get them across the finish line. So, I mean, it sure seems like there's some funny business going on there. If there's any election tampering, that is the most obvious that we've seen of any of the theories, right? Of any of the theories that Trump has espoused and his people. This is actually the most logical. That if you were given information that you were losing, and then you still had time to enact a plan, do something to, like you said, get your candidate across the line first, that would be valuable to have that information and be able to have that buffer to be able to do something about it, right? And we know that the Trump campaign was willing to do whatever it took. They were not above putting pressure on electors, right? We know they were doing it in Georgia. We know what they were doing in Georgia. You can imagine what they were doing in Ohio.
You got to find me 11,174 votes.
You just got to find me one more than he has. That's all he said. Just find me one more than he has.
So the story goes on that Bossie, by his and Corey Lewandowski's account, wrote down the numbers provided by Vlasto and read them to Steve Bannon, Rice Prince, and Jared Kushner, the latter of whom called his father-in-law with the news. According to the book, Trump told his wife Melania, "Jared says we're going to lose."
Wow.
By 7.
Can you imagine there was a room with this bossy asshole, Steve Bannon, Reince Priebus, and Jared Kushner just hanging out on election night, probably doing, mounds of cocaine and drinking heavily while trying to figure out how they could, or now at this point feeling like they were going to lose, right? Like that's what this guy is saying here, is that, the mood in the room was, well, we're fucked. So maybe, I don't know, maybe were these guys not in on whatever scheme may have been going on? You would think those guys would be in on it.
You would want to know what Vlasto was compromised. Why? Pardon me, I just had a huge coughing. You want to know why Vlasto gave that information, right? We've already established on our crazy it's always sunny in Philadelphia, like weird conspiracy board, who Paul Manafort is connected to, who those people are connected to, and then what those people are capable of. And I'm talking electronically, especially if a voting system isn't expecting or built for some sort of quiet attack. Right. No, we're not going to flip votes in New York or Florida or anywhere that's way obvious. But these little townships,
these counties in the middle of nowhere, Ohio and Pennsylvania, and
folks, that's what happened. That is what just happened, and that information floated out through all of those sources, got to the people who could take action on them, and that is your smoking gun.
So
quite literally,
in your theory
yes,
there's two factions of the Trump circle then, because this quote by Lewandowski says that it seems to say that the mood among Bannon, Priebus, and Kushner and Bossie was, well, given this information, we're going to lose. So they were probably very somber, kind of, and kind of going, all right, what's next? How, surely Donald's going to be fucking pissed off. What do we do next? Yet there, on the other hand, there's the Manafort, Russian-connected wing of the Trump circle that is going, holy shit, time to call in the favor now, right?
I think if you were that close to Trump at that point, you knew. And anybody, there's a reason Paul Manafort hadn't worked in American politics for like 17 to 20 years before somebody goes, yeah, he needs to be the campaign manager, right?
Right.
Because people knew who that guy was connected to and did business with. This is just the way things are. This is the history of Paul Manafort. He was a political insider that was on the rise, but made different decisions. Let's say that, right? For whatever reason. So it was an absolute outsider surprise that Paul Manafort was named campaign manager, especially that early in the campaign, because I think it went through a couple of different people before he was elected. So I think at one point Jared Kushner was the campaign manager before somebody else like stepped in. So it was well known, yes, falling like dominoes for sure. But that it's really hard to get this type of a story across to like Ma and Pa America, and I guess your average Joe, because no one in the chat room, the world's most dangerous, is an average person by far. It just, that's how big this is. It reads like a 3-part like mini series that's like 7 hours all told, right? It's
Right.
Jason Bourne and some Game of Thrones political type things going on where there's like, it's everything Machiavellian that you always thought about, like the political system being played out right in front of you. There's treason, there's murders, there's espionage, there's voter fraud. Oh, and we're going to talk about voter fraud later on too. But since we played the Russian national anthem, let's Slava Ukraine for a moment, and because something very significant started today, and it was basically you haven't paid a whole lot of attention to what's been going on in Ukraine or some of the cowardice of the Russians as the Ukrainians started legitimately fighting back, and I guess now preparing the battlefield to retake not only the southern area, the Kherson area of Ukraine, but also pushing to Crimea, which is very interesting because you really wouldn't do that unless you really thought you had the backing of, I don't know, but just about every other country in the world. This is from the dreaded CNN, but it's everywhere. So we like CNN because the stories are easy to read.
Yes.
Ukrainian forces have begun shaping operations in southern Ukraine to prepare the battlefield for significant Ukrainian counteroffensives, two senior U.S. officials briefed on the intelligence told CNN. Shaping operations are standard military practice prior to an offensive, so they blow up all the ammo dumps, any command control communication weapon systems that are stationary. They go in, and if they're on a map on a satellite image at 6 o'clock or 3 o'clock on an afternoon, they're destroyed by sundown. It's basically how the Ukrainians have been doing this with the HIMARS, the nice rocket system provided by many countries.
Gotcha.
But we're going to flip over because I want to bring a little more into the European flavor of this. Let's go to the BBC story about this one too, because this is a nice overview of everything that's been going on. So we're going to bounce from CNN. We'll the equally evil, I guess, BBC. Ukraine's military claims to have broken through Russia's first line of defense in the occupied Kherson region. So they're actually making some progress, despite having long been talked about. The reported push appears to form a part of a long-awaited counteroffensive being launched by Kyiv in an attempt to retake the country's south. In the following weeks, Ukraine attacks aimed cutting off Russian forces. I mean, they've blown up bridges. Ryan Hansen, thanks for it. You said it the best. The winter is coming. Ukraine is going to get crazy. The claims by both Russia and Ukraine are not independently verified, but Russians are taking on. Anytime the Russians say, and they claim that Ukrainian troops have suffered heavy losses, anytime Russia says something, the exact opposite is happening.
Right, generally speaking, yeah.
So the Russian military is claiming Ukrainian troops have suffered heavy losses. So Russia is getting its ass kicked. In fact, there are reports that the Russian special forces have left the area. So they're giving up a very strategic and very important area of Ukraine, not only for the access to the Black Sea, but because of agriculture. There's lots of grain farms in the area too, lots of industry as well. So it's 6 months into this special military operation, as Vladimir Putin put it. Ukrainians are now making a push to reclaim all of their lost territory and basically push Russia back to their borders, which is insane to think about. when you talk about the size and scope of the countries and which one's bigger and which one's military was supposed to be better.
Interesting.
I know. I like these things. They're fun to me.
This reminded me, and I wonder, if there's anything. Last week you really got me with this, the bombing, the car bombing of the daughter of the outspoken guy, right?
Yep.
And
ally.
we talked about how this NRA had taken responsibility on it. I'll be honest with you. I thought that would be a bigger deal, and I've heard almost nothing.
I actually have some more stuff on it. There have been more reports, but it is actually that Pravda. There are some other stories in it. I think there's more to come on that. I'm collecting more stories on that because.
But hasn't it been weird that it's been kind of quiet? You'd think that if by all intents and purposes, what could be described as a terrorist organization is taking a credit for this bombing, you would think that would be a huge story, and it just seems like I haven't heard it anywhere outside of this fucking show right here.
I do have some stories, and again, if I go the other way with it, I do have some stories that he actually might be working for the FSB, and it might have been like a plant story to draw out. Right. That's where we are with it. So if I do find out that story is false or some sort of false flag operation, anything, I will come back and
of course
apologize, and we'll chase it down as best I can. But yeah, as far as that story goes, I guess to be continued, because there is some more to that from what I'm starting to kind of see trickle in through my little faucets of the internet here. But I know, Ben, we sent out all of our investigators, as much investigative prowess as we have and power that we have. We've sent them out scouring the entire country.
It's the team that we sent to Russia a while back.
They came back. We had to call them back. Visa problems, and you saw what happened to Brittany Griner.
As soon as the Ukraine stuff happened, we pulled the team out. It was quiet. We didn't make a big deal about it, but we had to send a special forces team in. It was.
You think Brittany Griner likes marijuana?
Right, yeah, you can imagine.
That team, the Topic Thunder team, just hang on. It's part of the budget. It's
a
healthy part.
Sorry,
of the
Hayden.
budget.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man, we'll get you on the payroll.
Right, but so we found some voter fraud.
No way.
We found voter fraud. The NPR picked up our story, so we might as well just cover theirs.
All right, fine. We'll just use their version.
Ben 20.
The guys are going to be pissed. The team is going to be pissed that we're using the NPR story. But
they wrote it so much more simply. The team tends to kind of overwrite with really flowery, like too many adjectives. Like just pare it down, right?
Yeah.
Make it easy for us plebs. 20 people were charged for voter fraud in Florida. That sounds terrible, right?
That sounds awful.
Many of these individuals recently charged by Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis' new election crime unit told investigators they had no idea that with their felony convictions, they were unable to vote when they cast ballots in the 2020 election. Their experiences shed new light on Florida's controversial program for felons to restore their voting rights. In a press conference last week, DeSantis announced a crowd of supporters. The election crimes unit was charging 20 people across the state with voting illegally. DeSantis described the arrests as, quote, opening salvo, end quote, from the new election and security unit. State lawmakers passed legislation earlier that year, known as the Senate Bill 524, that created the policing force. The legislation followed pressure from DeSantis for the state to spend more resources on combating alleged voter fraud. People were getting prosecuted, he said.
Oh, hold on. You didn't. You skipped up. Which experts say remains very rare in American elections.
Right. It's damn near impossible unless you have state level tools. Let's just say that.
Right.
State law permits felons to try and gain back their voting rights, but not after convictions for certain crimes. They were disqualified from voting because they have been convicted of either murder or sexual assault and do not have the right to vote, DeSantis said. They have been disenfranchised under Florida law. According to court documents, though, some of the 20 individuals told law enforcement officials that they thought they were able to vote when they cast ballots. David Christopher Dana in Broward County, just north of Miami, told law enforcement agents in early August, according to an affidavit seeking after his arrest, that he filed out a voter registration form to see if his right to vote had been restored. The 58-year-old, who was convicted of a felony sex offense, later received a voter registration card and then voted in person on October 22nd, 2020. Terry Hubbard, who was convicted in 1989 of sexual battery of a victim under 12, told law enforcement that he registered to vote at the Broward County Property Appraiser's office. Afterwards, he was sent a ballot and a letter in the mail stating he was eligible to vote. So what are we talking about here? You told people they could vote, found out they tried to vote, and you spent taxpayers' dollars to hunt down check sources, check story, 20 people because you
Right.
catfished them into voting?
Basically, yeah.
This is insane.
Yeah, it's a giant waste of money, and every election fraud investigation that has almost ever been done has been a giant waste of taxpayer money. You know, but we don't talk about those things when it comes to healthcare for everyone. Everyone's like, well, I don't want my tax dollars going to that. It's like, but they already go to a bunch of other bullshit, and this is some of that bullshit. That why are we wasting our time with this? It's so.
I love the healthcare conversation because it's like, well, do you go to the doctor a lot? Well, no. Do you pay your premium every month? Yeah. Guess whose healthcare you're paying for? You're just paying a corporate premium and not a premium for one large whole entity, which would be the federal government.
Right.
I want my healthcare in the hands of the government. It won't be. It'd probably be the most seamless transition anybody could possibly imagine, given the enormity of that scenario. But that's, I guess, a different conversation.
Speaking of different conversations,
Yes.
in the that come from this story, as you were reading it, something popped into my head, and this is maybe a controversial take, but it's off the top of my head here, and
Let's go.
I've been partaking a little bit, but why are we taking away people's voting rights because they committed a crime? However heinous the crime, I'm not saying that sex offenders and murderers are great people. But at the end of the day, they are people living in this society. Shouldn't they still, as a human being living in this society, have a say in the rules and the people that represent them? It just seems to me that there shouldn't. It says nothing about the crime, but to me, it's not a right if it can be taken away. It's the same thing with guns, right? If felons can't own a gun, well, if you take away a person's right, well, it's not a right then. It's a privilege, and you're taking it away. You're taking away that privilege. We can argue with the Second Amendment, but with voting, I don't know how you argue it. I don't know how you argue that, well, you know, they're horrible people, so they don't get to vote. What? I wonder. It's just something that hit me. I was like, I wonder what the most dangerous chat room thinks about that. So
That's actually an excellent point and something we should probably expound upon, and take that conversation to a big or something like that, because that's
because again,
what's
predominant. It's a cycle.
It
like
is.
they point out,
Mhm.
predominantly minority people are charged with crimes and incarcerated. They are then stripped of their voting rights. So then it's predominantly law-abiding white folks who get to have the biggest say. It really is a scheme, really, at its core.
It's perpetuating a system, right? Which we know is broken, which we know then 5'9" wannabe despots will take advantage of. And I'm looking right at you, Ron DeSantis. Did you see his Top Gov campaign video? So truth,
No.
yeah. So Ron DeSantis was what do I call that? JAG. He was like an Air Force or Navy lawyer. He was one of those lawyers, but he put together this campaign video that had it making like he was the next Tom Cruise, that he was going to be that, he was that guy in that F-18. Like, yeah, like,
I typed in DeSantis into YouTube, right?
First thing, right?
DeSantis Top Gun political ad is the very first thing.
It might be worth a shot.
Yeah, hold on. It's only 55 seconds.
Oh, so it's 55 seconds of pure glory.
Hold on. I had everything set up this week, and this one's a curveball, so you got to give me a second.
Absolutely. But yeah, like again, this guy has been the whole teacher thing too. All that money for teachers.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your governor speaking.
Today's training evolution, dogfighting, taking on the corporate media.
The rules of engagement are as follows. Number 1, don't fire unless fired upon. But when they fire, you fire back with overwhelming force. Does it say that in the bill? I'm asking you to tell me what's in the bill. Number 2, never, ever back down from a fight.
If I could complete the question, though.
So you're going to give a speech or ask a question? Number 3, don't accept their narrative.
It's wrong. It's a fake narrative. I just disabused you of the narrative, and you don't care about the facts.
It's why people don't trust people like you, because you peddle false narratives. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
What's Jonathan?
Kids, fuck them.
Like text fighter to
Yeah.
This is
No, I won't.
Who the fuck are you? You're
Dude, who the fuck is he? He is the Republican candidate for fucking president in 2024.
He's their wet dream, is what he is. Like you,
I'm telling you.
He's got the short man syndrome, and man, I hate to say that because it's not every smaller than 6 foot male that I've met that has that problem, but it's an uncanny amount. And you know what? Maybe we should stop calling it a short person thing. He's just a general dickhead. And I don't mean that in a military sense. He's an average roundabout dickhead. And he just happens to be a lawyer and smart enough to know how to cue people. You saw all the very Trumpian, he had that like authoritarian, like I point when I talk, I make these very emphatic, like power moves. Mm-hmm. Those are for a reason. People like us might not look at it and be like, oh, like, does he have a problem? Does he have Parkinson's? What's going on there? Other people take that as like, I like this guy. I like the cut of his jib. He speaks with authority. He knows what he's talking about. He goes after those people that are asking questions. How dare you ask me a question? How dare you? I'll answer your question by telling you shouldn't be asking me questions. That's how I answer you. And people love it. And it blows my mind. It blows my mind.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm going to try to calm down, Ben.
Oh, yeah? This next video is probably going to raw you right the fuck back up.
No. Don't. No.
Oh, no. Hold on.
Is that Ron Johnson?
It is. It is Ron Johnson. That's your boy.
That Ron Johnson, senator from Wisconsin. What could he be possibly talking about?
And the campaign's control of the January 6th committee is scheduling more hearings likely in September. Have you been asked to testify? Would you testify?
No, I had nothing to do with January 6th.
If they asked you to testify, though, would you?
What would they ask me to testify about?
The Republican electors and the slate.
Again, it's another grotesque distortion. I had nothing to do with the alternate slate. I had no idea that anybody was going to ask me to deliver those. My involvement in that attempt to deliver spanned the course of a couple seconds. I think I
What?
fielded 3 texts and sent 2 and talked to my chief of staff that somebody wants you to deliver something. Yeah, I knew nothing about it. And in the end, those electors were not delivered because we found out from vice president's staff they didn't want them delivered. End of story. Again, I know that's been blown out of proportion.
You think so?
The January 6th committee didn't do their due diligence, and they blew us into like some massive conspiracy. Again, I had like virtually no involvement. Literally,
Virtually?
my involvement lasted seconds.
Seconds?
Okay.
If the vice president's chief of staff wouldn't have said, don't deliver these, would you have brought that document to the vice president?
In what way could have I? Again, we did our due diligence. So if somebody handed us something, we're supposed to deliver to the vice president. Does he want it? Nope. Okay. End of story. That was it.
No, that's not the end of the story. That seems like the beginning of the story, Mr. Ron Johnson.
It kind of does, doesn't it? Now, given everything we know about that, and my involvement lasted seconds, was virtually non-existent.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a lawyer to know, well, wait a minute. So you're saying you were involved, even though it was just virtually or just for seconds?
Right.
So let's bring Mr. Ron Johnson in and let's talk about what he was really up to and what. Okay, one of the best things that, like, I don't know what my chief of staff was doing. Why is he your chief of staff?
Right. That seems illogical that someone that close to you wouldn't know everything that person.
The guy that runs your day to day,
Yeah,
day
no-
to day, plans every meeting, knows where you have to be at every second of the day so you don't have to, has briefings ready for you before you meet this person and that person. And you don't know what he was up to?
Yeah, nothing about what he said seems logical, and it seemed like a guy saying, "Listen, I was just handed some papers, and once I knew what they were, that he didn't want them, I just threw them in the trash." And it's like, bullshit, dude.
And this is where the reporter fucked up, is because
Yeah,
he
he didn't
didn't ask
follow up on it.
where did those papers come from.
Sure.
Who gave your chief of staff that information? If there was an alternate slate of electors for an election,
Right.
presidential.
Right. Yeah, there are he what he did was just encourage more questions than it would have if he had said nothing. Right? Like, if I am on the January 6th committee, I'm going, well, now maybe he wasn't on the radar. But after that fucking nonsense, clearly that bullshit he was just spewing right there isn't true.
Yep.
So let's look into that. So maybe there's more to that. Maybe let's pull that thread and see what happens.
And they were specifically asking him, like, hey, does the January 6th committee want to talk to you? Well, why would they want to talk to me? I was only involved for seconds. I was virtually involved for just seconds. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why they want to talk to you.
Right. Yeah.
Right. They may have some more questions for you about those virtual seconds
Are
that
you
you were.
not a smart man?
No, but he's an
No.
elected official in this country, which tells you all you need to know. I mean, so is Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she thinks solar panels don't work at night.
This is also the same Ron Johnson senator, and also sitting senator for the okay state of Wisconsin, who
The okay state,
Was-
yeah, that's giving him way more.
spent July 4th, pretty significant day in this country's history, July 4th, 2016, in Moscow, Russia. Now, why would a sitting American senator pass up any sort of fundraising publicity event on the nation's birthday to go hang out in Moscow with 5 other senators? I don't know. Maybe the January 6th committee should ask Mr. Johnson that. We all know what a Johnson is, too. Dick. And Ron Johnson, actually, speaking of dicks, does look like the CEO of OCP from RoboCop,
He does kind of. Yes, he does.
where I believe his name is Dick Johnson, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my God! Hold
We
on.
might have to look this up. I that just kind of struck me too. But
What's the RoboCop?
RoboCop OCP CEO?
CEO. Hold on.
He's the guy
Yes!
that like takes the,
Like,
the
hold on.
gunshots out the window, and that
It
hired
is.
Clarence Boddicker.
Hold on. I got to do a little bit of work here, but this will be worth it.
Yeah. A severe reference to one of the awesomest, most grotesque movies of all time. But yes, a side by side would be amazing, and I know Ben could probably do it. But I'm pretty sure we don't want to make anything happen.
I don't know if side by side, but I'm going to do my best. So here is the actor that played the CEO in RoboCop.
All right, I might be thinking of somebody else. So it's the guy. He kills this guy. There's another dude. He was also the bad guy in. I can't think.
I know who you're talking about.
With Mars. Total Recall. Thank you.
Hold on.
Also with a very Clarence Boddicker-esque, henchman. But there was
it's
another
the guy.
dude.
It's the guy in the middle here.
Okay.
This guy in the middle.
Yes. So that dude who developed ED-209, if you're familiar with the RoboCop, he does that. Talk about finding your niche. We need you to play a gray-haired, Caucasian, powerful CEO who's corrupt as all fuck. And we got to call this guy. And there we are. That guy, he kills the guy on the right. He could
be either one of these guys, because this is Ron Johnson. He could be either one of those guys.
We're just looking at the past, future, and present.
Right? He could be either one of the guys on the left. He could play that guy. Right? Either one of those guys.
Sometimes universe lets you know who people are just by way they look. I'm not trying to judge people by the looks, but just saying, I guess, is how you kind of cover your ass in these situations.
Indeed.
All right. Let's move on, because I've got some really interesting animal videos to show. I know it's like becoming like our big segment.
It's a niche now. We have a new niche, which is crazy animal videos, which is great because I love the David Attenborough fucking different what am I talking about? Planet Earth, all of I love all shit. Love it all, right? So I am a prime candidate for this shit. I love animal videos.
I just I just want to throw out a Clarence Boddicker has one of the best lines in cinema history when he walks into the apartment of the younger executive of OCP, guns out, just going, "Bitches, leave." The same guy, same actor goes on to play Red Foreman in that 70s show. And it never escapes my mind that every moment bitches, leave.
Yes.
Clarence Boddicker. Yes. But yes, this is probably, it's entitled Insane Bear Encounter. And I would say that title's pretty apt.
This situation could have gone wrong very quickly.
It's probably like an adolescent black bear, but it doesn't.
But still, it's like an adult human. Yeah. Please go away, brown bear. Please go away, black bear. Please stop touching me.
Stop sniffing me.
Please stop sniffing me. Please just walk away. I'm not food.
Perv bear.
Perv bear.
Perv bear. Wait, I'm not done smelling you.
I'm not. Let me creepily smell your friend ass.
I love the way your knee smells.
Hey.
You got nice knees.
Hey. Let me sniff your crotch. Get over here.
All right, I'm done.
Yeah, that's terrifying.
But the music didn't help. And one of the top comments, somebody said, "LOL, what the fuck is the music?"
Courtney. You didn't have to say it. You didn't have to say it.
Somebody said in the comments, there is no segue from that. We're just moving on. LOL, what the fuck was up the music? It's a black bear, not the Blair Witch. The immediate reply, Bear Witch.
Hold on, yeah. I gotta bring that up. That's worth.
All right, we'll switch gears a little bit from the insanely scary to the insanely cute. We've been keeping track of Fritz, the hippopotamus from the Cincinnati Zoo, and we covered his birth and we're big fans of Fiona, the other adolescent hippo from the Cincinnati Zoo, and they are now introducing Fritz to Fiona, which I guess you have to do when one of those things weighs 40 pounds and the other weighs 1,000 pounds. You got to do it slowly. And actually, Fiona, the 1,000-pound behemoth, is the one that seems to be a little tentative. But let's let the video show you.
Hold on. The video fucked me over here. I had it all set up and everything. I was trying to be good this week and have shit all fucking set up and everything, and then it just fucked me. So.
Welcome to Topic Thunder. No, that's Fiona up on the ledge, not in the water. And Mom Bibi is trying to model behavior to show Fiona how to treat Fritz. Look at that. Look at the wild in his eyes.
Look at the wild in his eyes.
Look at that.
He wants to eat everyone on the other side of that glass.
Whatever it is.
Whatever. That looks good. I want to eat that. I'm telling you, if he stayed that size, I'd have one.
Oh no. We're gonna follow Fritz and how big he gets. That'll be the thing too. We'll check in with Fritz. Checking in with Fritz.
Yeah, because he's gonna get as big as that.
We're checking in with Fritz.
Look at how big that fucking thing next to him is.
Your hippo. Checking in with Fritz.
Look at how fucking big that other hippo is. Look at
that's
how
BB.
massive BB.
That's small.
Holy shit. And that's the thing running at you. It can run, it runs like as fast as a car, and it swims as fast as a fucking alligator.
Hippos are not carnivorous. They're actually herbivores. They enjoy fruits and vegetables.
But they also kill people often.
Oh yeah, they'll kill more people than sharks, and I believe tigers combined. To be honest with you,
Yeah, and we're
and
terrified
they'll
of sharks
snap
here.
them in half.
Yeah.
They're
extremely territorial.
They're very aggressive animals once they get to full age and not to be trifled with. Like, of all the animals, like you would think like, oh, it's a hippo. I believe it can get up to 35 to 40 miles an hour.
Yeah, they can run and swim like faster than anyone you think that they can. Like you think, oh, there's that huge thing as big as a fucking truck, but it swims fast. And then when you get on land, you're like, oh man, maybe I got out of the way. Nope, it's running at you like a rhinoceros. Like,
the only thing you might have is like lateral agility.
That's it.
Good luck. Good luck.
I hope that they're swimming
all
out of
you've
that
got.
fucking pond that it chased you out of, that you have enough agility to get out of the way.
They could probably knock down a tree if they wanted to. I don't know that for certain, but I'm just guessing. I'm not up on my physics, but if you can get to 35 miles an hour and you weigh a ton, I'm assuming that like whatever tree you try to climb up, probably wouldn't start it. I'm just assuming if it wanted to ram that tree down, you'd be on the ground. I don't know that. I really don't.
Okay, yeah. This is a reference. I think, Ryan, this is what you're talking about, which is this is terrifying.
Yeah.
Check this shit out if you haven't seen it. Look at that.
That's 2,000 pounds of nope.
Yeah, it's coming at you. The boat can't get out of the fucking way.
It's swimming faster than you think it should by all rights.
Yeah, fuck that. Fuck all that.
Maybe we'll do some hippo videos because there's one where there's some killing videos that if you don't believe that a hippo can kill, maybe we'll do that some other time.
Oh, and stay tuned, folks. Kangaroo fighting is about to become a staple of Topic Thunder.
It's real.
We've got ideas.
It's real. So I guess another palate cleanser before I don't know, maybe the storms catch up to us, if you know what I mean. But I came across this and I could not wait to share it with everybody just because I figure, Adrian's downstairs. watching it on the TV or doing whatever, the ladies are gonna squeal.
Yes, this is ice bear.
Look at this little polar bear.
Look, see again.
Oh,
if
no.
the polar bear stayed that
Oh
size,
no! Oh no!
whoa.
What is this?
Yeah. So he's
What?
just chilling. He's just chilling.
Little
I mean,
ice,
playing in
little
the
snow in his
snow.
mouth.
Just an ice bear. No big
What?
deal. Ah! What the fuck are you?
Seal.
Where the
See
fuck
you
did
later.
you come from? Yeah. He's like, oh, shit. Where the fuck did you come from?
Yes, just that daily dose of cute, a weekly dose of cute. Yeah, ice bears are pretty cute until they get to the point that they can chase you down and
Ice
slice
bears
you.
are also like hippos. They're like, oh, they look really cute, but they're like the most savage of all the bears. Like there were, from what I understand from watching the David Attenborough documentaries and such, polar bears are like more vicious than even grizzly bears. Like they're bad motherfuckers.
Not to be trifled with, right? At all. Like, just why would you want to? Why? Why would you want to? Why would you want to give a bear a hot dog? Like, whatever. Don't, just leave them alone. We're intrusive enough. Leave them alone.
Yes. Also, in a few years, that bear will eat that seal.
Oh yeah, for sure. That seal's gonna pop up like, hey, Henry, where are you? Chomp.
Chomp. Ah, got you,
Dinner for
motherfucker.
Henry. I remembered you.
Remember that time you fucking, I saw you and I didn't know what the fuck
Scared the
you
shit
were.
out of me. I got you.
Yeah.
Thanks for dinner. You're gonna feed my pups now. But hey, Ben, how's the
You know,
storm?
I heard something outside.
Did you?
Yeah, it was.
What did you hear, Ben? Did you hear lightning? Thunder? It must be the lightning road. Here on Topic Thunder, the #1 segment on this podcast that my father hasn't listened to yet. So thanks, Pops. Not going to therapy for that at all. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, if you're new to the Thunderdome, throw some lightning bolts up in the chat room at the world's most dangerous chat room, and let me explain how this happens. The chat room becomes the Thunderdome, right? It's pretty simple, folks. 3 stories enter the Thunderdome, 1 gets read, and you, the people, vote on it. So the people, they give it back to you, the people. I love the Bane voice. It's so much fun.
I thought, by the way, have you watched the Harley Quinn cartoon on HBO Max?
No, I have not yet.
It's fantastic. I just started watching it, and the Bane character, what they do with Bane is hilarious.
I'll have to catch up on that because it's just a lot of fun. Bane's a fun character. But yeah, Ben,
I digress.
No more dilly or dally.
We do not do either of those things here.
We hesitate not to. Headline number 1. Man unpacks penis and hits woman with dead seagull.
What? What? Come on. That's the most absurd headline I've ever heard in my life. That can't be.
Until headline number 2. The U.S. Forest Service guide to completely obliterating a horse with explosives. And
in case you were wondering.
Headline number 3. Kangaroo attacks leave coast town residents scared to leave home.
Wait a minute. We teased you.
We teased, and this is why I didn't want to do that kangaroo fight that you sent me. So I was like, oh.
Good call. Good call.
But folks, here are your headlines one more time as you kind of.
This has got to be as much as I want to know how to blow up a horse properly. This seems like a no-brainer.
Not blow up.
But go ahead.
Obliterate.
Excuse me. Obliterate.
I think there's a difference.
Right. Just in case you want to do obliterate.
Sure, there's a difference. But let's. We don't want to make this. We don't want to make this like too easy,
man.
right? We want to include a couple of.
Yeah,
things
this
to
is
make
a
you
tough
think
one.
about
See,
it, right?
the chat room was already saying this is very tough.
Yeah, so let's go over this one more time, shall we? So you can make your final decisions. Headline number 1. Man unpacks penis and hits woman with dead seagull.
How does that not work?
Headline number 2. The U.S. Forest Service, a guide to completely obliterating a horse with explosives. And headline number 3. Kangaroo attack leaves coast town residents scared to leave home.
Yeah.
Get your votes in right now, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
can understand. I can understand with Courtney being over penises. Like we have done a lot of naked people stuff.
Yeah, but that penis, like that penis.
But he hits someone.
tombstone,
He hits someone with a seagull. That's really what's more
like
important.
that's the best. Don't. Yeah, you're burying the lead, Courtney.
Right. You're ignoring the part where he hits someone
It's
with
a
a
dead
seagull.
bird.
All right, we've got a vote for number 2. It looks like 2 votes for number 2.
Yeah, we do.
And 2 votes for number 1 already in the house at this point.
And we got.
All right, here we go. Ryan Hansen with our alternate headlines: Man's Big Package, Horse Mist Manual, and Self-House Arrest.
The Ryan Hansen remix.
Biz going with number 3, the outlier, the only man to vote for number 3, the only person
This is
to vote
going
for
in
number
a
3
direction you did not expect, Ben.
2 more number 2s, and then another number 3. So there's a
There
number
is a
2.
clear winner so far. So just
Number 2 is the leader at this point. And yes, Courtney was number 3, so that's 2 votes for number 3.
It's a
Looks like we
good
got 2
question,
votes for-
Gigi. Gigi in the chat room asking, is it somebody else's penis?
Yes. Well,
Because
we-
the
I guess we
headline
got to
is
vote.
Man Unpacks Penis. I will say this. It is from a German website that has been translated into English. And I'll just say, having read the article, the translation is fun. In all the ways you thought it would be. So, Gigi,
where are we at here? I think 2 is ahead by like 1 or 2 votes.
Do I 2 votes? It is 4-2 right now in favor of
I think we're gonna- I
headline
think
number 2.
We're going to have to close voting and going with.
We may have to get your final votes in, ladies and gentlemen, whether you're going to make a difference or not. That's the point of a democracy. You get your vote in and you just feel good about what you voted for. It is not the weird sex. We have not. No, we have not actually gotten an update on the status of the weird sex doll guy. Maybe we should send some feelers out. Maybe we don't want to send feelers out. Probably not a good way to phrase that. All right. I think we're going to declare a winner here. We do have a winner. Oh,
Is the link?
The lovely box is voting.
Number 1. So wait, hold on.
We are things might be getting a little close here, folks. So again, get your votes in. Just in the sake of a fair vote and let everybody make their decisions. We're going to go over the headlines just one more time. Is that fair?
Sure, because if I have to vote, I will.
All right.
Normally,
fair enough. Headline number 1: Man unpacks penis and hits woman with dead seagull. Headline number 2: The U.S. Forest Service guide to completely obliterating a horse with explosives. And headline number 3: Kangaroo attacks leave coast town residents scared to leave home. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. If you have voted, thank you. If you haven't, get it in real quick because we're closing the polls real soon. It has nothing to do with headline number 1 either.
I would have voted for 1, but I think that throws a wrench into things if I vote.
Kind of makes that a tie, and I think Ma Jordan has already
Oh,
voted.
did Ma Jordan vote? Oh yeah, Ma Jordan did vote for number 1.
All right, now actually, so I don't know why I'm talking like a Canadian now. So we're at a tie. We got a tie, a 2-way tie with story 1 and story 2.
What does that? I mean, that means we do both, right?
Or you could vote, or we could do.
I voted, right? Oh, wait. Oh, if I vote for number 1.
Yeah, I think. Should we do?
I want to know about this guy hitting someone with a dead seagull.
I think we're gonna do.
His penis is one thing. I don't want to know about the dead seagull.
That would be.
And it made me laugh 3 times.
Okay,
I heard
so that you're voting, and that's it. We're pushing it. Vote number 1 has won. Headline number 1. First, the man unpacks his penis, then hits a woman with a dead seagull. A dispute in a Hamburg park on Tuesday morning escalated completely. Kicks, smacks, and a dead seagull, and a bare penis. On Tuesday morning, a dispute broke out at a park in the German city of Hamburg, which escalated. It all started out harmless. A woman, 31, walks her dog near the park in the morning. Suddenly, a man, 41, appears and begins to insult the woman and her 2 companions, kick the dog, reports say.
I think it was bare penis, BARE. Not a bear.
not bare penis. No, we're not. That's a different show. The woman then pulls out her cell phone, wants to call the police. Now the argument escalates. The man pulls down his pants, unpacks his penis, and exposes himself in front of the women. The argument gets completely out of hand, like it hadn't already, when the man grabs a dead seagull from the ground and starts beating the 31-year-old woman with it. The police, who have been alerted in the meantime, came immediately and arrested the man after a short chase. Just flapping. That's got to be painful. According to the police, a man initially tried to flee through the lake. The police took up the pursuit with a fireboat, and a helicopter was also used for the arrest. In German, we are looking for a naked man in the lake. You'll see it, get the helicopters. The police officer would have reached a man in the middle of the lake. 2 police officers then jumped into the water and arrested him. Aquatic arrest. How many points in like the police like game of bingo is that? Like you made an aquatic arrest. No, did you arrest him on the boat? No, dude. We jumped in and got that motherfucker. 2 knives were also found on the man, and he was taken to the police station.
Amazing.
I just like, what kind of park has just a bunch of dead seagulls lying around it? And yes,
it does seem like, yeah, it seems like a lot. Like it seems like a poor use of the helicopter.
Or you're just bored on a Tuesday. And like, I don't know if this happens a lot. Like, does it happen? This is every day Tuesday in New York, right? Naked guy running to the park, throwing
Certainly
dead birds.
At some point, like back in the 70s, for sure.
But like in Hamburg today, probably not an everyday occurrence. So everybody got excited. Get the chopper up, Fritz. No, I guess we already used Fritz. But yeah. All right, so there it is, ladies and gentlemen, your lightning round. And yeah, I guess Germany is good for a lot of things, engineering being one of them. But I guess good stories for the lightning round also. So there it is. Packen Sie Iron Penis. See, yeah, da. All right, that's the extent of my German right now. So I shouldn't embarrass myself any more than that. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe this is Topic Thunder 85 under wraps right now.
Wow.
We're zeroing in on 100. That might be coming. Well, I guess we could plot it out. But we hope you enjoyed the show. Whether you're watching on Twitch, YouTube, we enjoyed the newcomers. If you stuck around, thanks. If you didn't stick around, you missed the best part. And it's purposely done like that to get you to stick around. But I know 85, right? We all feel old. Our little baby's an octogenarian at this point. So, but Ben,
breaking news.
Yes.
We're going to do a crossover episode. Topic Thunder and the Nameless Retro Wrestling Podcast are coming together for a show very, very soon. Details coming soon.
It's true. Somebody might be sitting in on one of the best, worst pay-per-views of all time. You never know. But but we thank you for listening, participating, especially you guys drive the show. You make it worthwhile. Thank you from the USS